And we've got a wizard, petty cash. Well, maybe. I bet he goes the coward route and takes a big and a half a. Wait, I can check. No, he took a wizard. Nice.
All right. So
I'm not sure I agree with taking a wizard, but I like the thought.
Okay, well, let me introduce our fans to what's going on. This is, of course, the NBFL Super Bowl. On one side, representing the NFC, you got Coach Menoloco and the Cattle Chaos, obviously a Chaos team. I think they were undefeated this season, like 10-3-0 with a forfeit win somewhere along the way. Won their 2 playoff games. Forfeit tie. So he beat Stem and then beat Dash in the NFC Championship game to get here. On the other side, we have the AFC champion New York Rex, coached by Robo Coyote. I believe they were a wild card team, so he had to get through Las Vegas, which was a crazy overtime game, and then Atlanta, which was a crazy game late. No, not in Atlanta. Denver. They used to be in Atlanta. And then the AFC Championship game had to get through the Jordals, which is no easy task. And so the Rex find themselves here. It's their second Super Bowl appearance, first for Cattle. Meno was selected as the curse recipient in my playoff preview. Wasn't supposed to face the Rex, but we'll have to settle for this chaos matchup. With me today is the commissioner, Baz. How you doing, man?
I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Baz just woke up, so he'll have plenty of fine things to say about these two teams. We already have some gamesmanship going on. We see that Cattle decided to invest $150K into this game to get a wizard. And with the $50K left over, Robo was able to get a Bloodweiser keg, so perhaps helps with the KO rolls. He also has a pretty decided fame advantage, so that could come into play with an extra reroll or pitch invasion or something crazy like that. Is this a simplification or an oversimplification to say it's basically Broadway Joe versus the damage potential of Cattle because they are the bashier team of the two?
I mean, as amazing as Broadway Joe is, and I think that he's been the best player in the league for quite some time, you got to remember that both these Chaos teams have a plus MA, plus strength, plus edge.
So you're saying Rasheem Smokes Green is in the same class as Broadway Joe?
He's not. The lack of block hurts. I mean, it makes it so he can do a little bit less. Leap is not as good as two heads. I don't really think. I mean, a 3+ leap, or you can dodge into a tackle zone on a 2+. I think it's pretty clear which one of those is better. Mm-hmm. But as he's one of the few players in the league that could be like stay on the same field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Not many people are able to get a 2-die on Joe by themselves, that's for damn sure. So Cattle has a few more tools, such as 3 tentacles on the roster, I believe. Got a couple Stand Firm. They do have Rasheem, like we said. A couple Claw Mighty Blow Warriors. We got a Claw Mighty Blow Jug piling on Goat up top, Mr. Cardinal Rourke. Boss Cockrell's also a Frenzy, Claw, Tackle, Mighty Blow, Beastman. So it looks like he's going to turtle his guys in the middle, puts the Meno in the back instead of on the line. So 3 sacrificial goats to the Chaos Gods on the line. Rex will receive. They got 15. Cattle has, I believe, 15 as well. 3. Yeah, I think he's got to put one more out there. So 15 on 15, a wizard for Cattle, a beer for the Rex, 5 rerolls versus 4. Chaos mirrors can be interesting, can be boring. Welcome to the chat log as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One thing just looking at the teams is Cattle is like poster child outside of Rasheem, poster child Chaos team, right? They've got 2 if you include Machine, 2 credible carriers. They've got a ton of damage potential. They've got some dirty player. They've got guard. You know, a little bit of tense, a little bit of stand from everything you're saying. The Rex have always been kind of a little bit different. They have so much dodge. They have a true sacker, which is something Minnow does not have.
True.
I mean, if Robo's less claw, but still, I mean, we're looking at what, 3 players with claw, and a couple more with mighty blow. I mean, if he gets some removals early, things like that sacker could be the difference in this game, because it's you don't have the ability to, if you're sitting 8 on 11, to be able to protect the ball in the same way.
Right. I think before the game, he made the decision to actually fire the other defensive specialist he had. It was his Wrestle Frenzy strip ball tackle guy, because he was minus MA and was worried about the TV difference, so he just replaced him with a rookie to shave off some points. And kickoff goes out of bounds. Broadway Joe has the ball back deep. First block of the game is a KO, so a good start for the Rex. I should probably turn my fan off. Do you dare throw the 3-die with the Minotaur? Some coaches say yes, Robo's not going to be the one to do it. Instead, he gets a 3-die with the Warrior. Badly hurts Mr. Clowney. So it's a +2 advantage already. We'll get a blitz on this Warrior down here, and if you can remove him, that's huge. Oh, a stun. Still good.
I think we're going to see a foul happen on this.
We do have Mr. Smash Mosley there. Minotaur on a basic Beastman. That's 3 assists. Joe's not in any danger. You're going to have Colin back there to help screen.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'd seriously consider just leaving Joe deep, kind of do more of an elf stall here early. Because if you can get Minnow stretched forward some, especially with him down players now, you should be able to squeeze behind. Oh, we're going to see the... Are we going to...
I mean, you got 4...
How is the Wizard going to get used? I mean...
You got 4 guys right there. It won't hit your Warrior.
Yeah, I would say that would be a poor usage of a Fireball.
He did use it early on in the NFC Championship game, much to our chagrin.
Yeah, it worked well for him there. It was 100% the reason he made it here, right?
All right. Decides not to use it, though.
We'll see. I am interested in how people use the Wizards. I've been wondering with Minnow specifically, because he's just had a lot of influence from Morehouse, and Morehouse is big on using it as soon as possible, which just kind of fits his over-aggressive style. And so I was curious if we were going to see maybe a cheeky attempt at a zap turn 1 even. I mean, it's not great as far as odds go against this team, but if you give me a coin flip to take Broadway Joe out for the drive turn 1, I mean, I could see that being appealing. Don't think I'd do it.
I guess it comes down to whether you're feeling lucky, punk.
Yeah, I do have to say, I mean, you know, a lot of times people aren't huge fans of the whole chaos on chaos games. I mean, we definitely see that a lot with Fumble Majors, but it's nice to get some batch teams in the Super Bowl again. I mean, this is my 8th season. In the 7 seasons before this, Robo made it once, JR made it once and won, and he beat OTS's Chaos Dwarves. Besides that, Slon made it 3 times, High Elves made it 4 times, Vampires made it once, Rats made it twice. At the very top level, I feel like Bash has been underrepresented as far as how good the teams are doing, especially like true mutation bash of Nurgle and Chaos. I know right before I joined, there was some Nurgle and some Chaos Orbs who made it deep, but nothing before I joined counts anymore.
Revisionist history, huh? Looks like we're going to get another foul here on this warrior, so hoping for better luck than the last one. But all Meno could do last turn was throw one block, get another stun on the warrior, unfortunately, but you still haven't been caught, so your position is still
I mean,
good.
Stuns are solid. Like right here, I mean, okay, you're up 11 on 9. Yeah, you didn't get another removal, but there's 3 stuns on the other side of the pitch. So, like, what can Minnow really do here? I don't like putting the Sacker up front like that, where he becomes like the easy blitz choice. I mean, as I said earlier, I feel like he's particularly important.
Well,
yep, and there we go. And this is actually an interesting choice too.
It decides to use it though, which is good. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That guy is important to your defense, especially with green there, strength 4, agility 4, dodge, but more importantly, the ball carrier on the bench is M7, block, 2-hedge dodge, and sure hands. So he's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Now, strip ball is obviously, negated by sure hands, but not when green has
the cool thing about I'm not a fan of strip ball on bash teams for that reason. I'm not sure if I've ever taken strip ball on anything but a gutter runner and a war dancer.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that is I haven't played the other elves, except for Dark Elves.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm not a huge fan of them on bash teams, and most people don't like it as much at high TV for obvious reasons. Everyone has sure hands.
Right.
I actually think at NBFL it tilts back the other way. Because, I mean, Minnow has sure hands, right?
Right.
But if he's worried about the strip ball, he has to keep the ball in the sure hands,
mm-hmm.
And so if you do get the ball on the ground and someone else has to pick up, well, then you're not too worried about that.
All right. Looks like we'll get the blitz here. We got a block on the Beastman in the center. Nothing doing on Cardinal Rook, though. But we get a third foul attempt on this warrior, so maybe third time's the charm.
I'd move forward and foul Maxwell, personally.
Instead of Mingo. It's probably not a bad call.
Get yourself a little more up the pitch.
Instead of moving the Minotaur, which worked out, but obviously that's a 50-50 with Wild Animal, I would have liked to move and assist up there so you block the guy into the Minotaur. But, alas.
I mean, that's taken away from your foul. And
finally gets caught on the third stun. Unfortunate.
And now we're 9 on 9, which, I mean, 3 fouls, not getting even a KO is... Especially when we get armor breaks in all 3 is
we're getting the wizard.
A little bit unlucky. Oh god.
3 of them down, better, but not out.
I just don't get it. Like, okay, great. Now you have to hit a POW on Joe. The whole point of the wizard is so that you don't have to POW Joe.
Yeah, if you hold that for the rest of the half, because the Rex do not want to score before turn 8, maybe turn 7 if they have to, but they're going to go down this sideline. You can just kind of stall it out. They're going to throw a block or 2 a turn. You'll throw a block or 2 a turn. Just let them come down the sideline. Turn 6 or so, boom, fireball either Joe, all the guys in front of Joe, and get your shot at him, but that, sure, you broke his bottom flank, but you're going to send 2 guys down there for what?
But, you sit and you think about, okay, what are my chances here, right? So if I just zap Joe, I have a 50% chance of it working.
Mm-hmm.
That fireball he just used, if the goal is to get a blitz on Joe, he had to knock down not only 3 of the 4, but a specific 3 of the 4, which is a 12.5% chance. Which just isn't good. You know, I mean, 12.5 is a lot worse than 50.
I'm not good at math, but I think you're probably right on that one.
And then you still have to do the blitz afterwards. So, I mean, this was one of the reasons why I was getting frustrated with all the fireballs against me, is I was looking at it and it was like you had to hit not only 3 of the 4, but the right 3 of the 4. It's just not as good odds. Worked out, but at least in my opinion. But here, I think without even having the ball included, I just don't think that's defensible at all. I mean, if you were going to use the wizard like that, you shouldn't have taken the wizard. You should have just taken an Apo and a Bay and won that way.
Alright, so wizard usage aside, looks like the Rex have fought through the turn. They've gotten Joe away from the pressure. They've definitely lost the advantage at the bottom. They're going to start taking a lot of blocks, which is not exactly what they want to do. I almost would have considered not standing them up.
No, I think you had to stand them up. I think this is one of those turns where you take the blocks and it locks in the score.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take the hits. I mean, you do stall at least 3 4 of the pieces. You can probably just get up north and get away, but there's still a lot of time left. He has used the Apo already, so if you lose like 2 of these warriors, that's an aggressive reroll to no effect. Let's say you get one of the warriors removed and then they foul Deadkins again, you lose both of them. That could be a turning point.
It could, but I mean, if it's 1-0 at the half, you know, yeah, you'd much rather still have those guys, but I'd much rather be 1-0 at the half without them than 0-0 or 1-1 with them.
That's fair. There is no game after this, after all. Now, the interesting thing about Meno's blitz last turn is that he blitzed the guy marking Joe, but he has Frenzy. And so if you didn't get the knockdown initially, you go into a 1-die, and then he threw a 1-die on a warrior later, and luckily got a POW, fouled in a tackle zone. But that's a good KO there. Alright, so my worst fears for the Rex last turn did not come to fruition. They survived, and now they can advance forward with kind of, well, not impunity per se.
I mean, you're in a fairly decent spot. It's not perfect by any means. I mean, you can't keep Rashim from being able to get 2 dice on the ball unless the ball's caged, which it's not really caged.
Oh, that's a big KO for a relatively risky block.
I mean, I've got to say, the Rex just need to hit a little bit harder, you know?
That is quite a few KOs, and yes, he does have the 2-die on the ball. You are hoping he can't roll the POW, and because so much of his team is tied up at the bottom or just off the field, Green would be the only one who can really pick up the ball.
And he kind of has to blitz.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you'd have to leap over. Well, yeah, you pretty much have to leap over to get the blitz right, because you also have to avoid Minotaur's assist if you want 2-die. So it's a GFI to get the assist with Chaz. It's, well, let me look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, you can come through the top with Green and just dodge through the Minotaur. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you'll be northwest of Joe for the 2-die.
Yeah, we don't need the assist. So never mind. So what I'd do if you were going to do it is I think I'd move Chaz and do the GFI for the assist and blitz in the Minotaur's tackle zone. So if you do get the POW, you're pushing south.
Mm-hmm.
Or not south, but towards the other end zone, and then you can dodge out and pick the ball up. Would be the play there.
My thought was to come all the way around and blitz Joe from the northwest, which would be your 7th move, and then you have Chaz free to try to pick up and pass if it scatters back to your side. But
Yeah, this works too.
He's going for
Like this is
kind of
what I
what you
was
wanted,
thinking.
and gets the
Without the
POW.
GFI.
A huge
Ooh,
stun.
that makes things interesting.
I think you have to dodge, but he doesn't make it. It does make things
I think
interesting.
I think it might be time for a Minotaur block here.
I think you have to risk it and then pick up with Colin and just run.
Yeah, it looks like that's what we're gonna get. It definitely looks like Bud's gonna move and assist to make it 3 dies on Chaz.
Oh, he's only movement 5, so he can't quite
Yes,
make
so it's
it.
GFI.
I think it's worth it, but I'm scared.
Mike. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to do the GFI, I don't think you bother doing the blitz first. I think you just go strike with the minnow. Take out the 1 in 36 failure.
All right, so Minotaur does his job for once, or at least doesn't mess it up, which is the important part. Mr. Colin comes through with a clutch pickup, double GFI to get pretty much clear of the defense. I mean, Chaz can get there with the 2 die on the blodger, but he is marked by tentacles.
Yeah, but he's intense. Strength 5 tense too, so it's not very likely. I do have to say, thinking about it more, I actually think Minnow's turn last turn was better than what I was thinking. I think that was definitely the right play when he had a couple options.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't quite work out, but that would have been the best chance of him winning the game.
I mean, getting a stun and a POW, I mean, I guess that's the other way around, on Joe was pretty big, but failing the GFI certainly didn't help, but you can't ask for much more if you take down Broadway Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, at this rate, we're going to assume that Robo's going to score. Cattle's only lost 1 player, hasn't used their apothecary. If you go down in the half and get like 2 or 3 guys back for the second... Okay, I spoke too soon.
Oh, there goes the Appa. Re-rolling a 1 die push.
I spoke way too soon. Okay, so Mr. Maxwell decided to try to sacrifice himself for corn, and the apothecary decided not to let him. But he'll be back for the second half. We'll see if this guy can make it. Wow, another stun. Wow.
Yeah, it does make everything just a little bit tighter. This is going to be a big block. No call here, though. So
yeah. Still got a 3 die, but you got to watch out for green. So nice, he pushes him into the Minotaur. Do you? I don't know. I think you stay right there and make him roll the dice to get another POW and burn more rerolls.
Don't stand there. I mean, now if he can get the blitz off, gets the POW.
You could scatter, goes in the end zone, and then.
And then if it gets thrown in the wrong place, like you're in real trouble.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. Gets the leap, gets the dodge. Thanks to dodge. Gets the POW. Pushes him into the end zone, probably. Maybe he should. Maybe. We'll see.
I'm trying to think. Where would the throw-ins go?
No, he didn't. Wow, what a sequence from Mr. Green. I take back what I said early in the broadcast about him potentially not being in the same category as Joe. Now the Rex are in a bit of trouble. They've got to knock the ball out of Strength 4, dodge Mr. Green's hands, pick it up, and score. Now Joe's definitely within scoring range. Do you have a tackler within range to get Mr. Green? You don't seem to.
You do. If you knock down Chaz, Bud can reach. But I
using
think
the safe knock with Bud.
Yeah, I think I take the no GFI blitz without tackle. I think is a little better,
especially since he doesn't have.
Ooh, that's
potentially
that's
important. but does knock it out. Joe just needs a 2+ pickup and a 2+ GFI. There's the pickup. And he gets the touchdown. Broadway Joe coming through in the clutch. And the fans go wild, but not in the positive manner. Apparently, is it people don't like Joe, or people are really cheering for Cattle for some reason? What is it?
I mean, I think everyone's cheering against both. But no, I do think that it's a bit. I think Meno played that half a little bit better. I don't think either of them played poorly by any means, but Meno did some of the things that I'm often frustrated he doesn't do when I watch him, and that's know when to take the shot. And I'm curious how he deals with not being rewarded by it.
I mean, he had the blitz. Speaking of blitz, he had the blitz on Joe that turned into a POW. He had the blitz on the ball late that turned into a POW. So you couldn't ask for better dice on those results. To your point, Robo should have not been on column 1 in case of the scatter going into the end zone. But
yeah, and he didn't push it quite the right way. But guard, he doesn't know how.
Well, that's you're probably not wrong.
No, I know I'm right because he's told me he doesn't know how. Because he asked me, he's like, "Can you write a guide?
Teach me, sensei."
Setup. And I'm like, bro, it's not a mechanical thing. You just look at it and you just kind of start putting guys places and clicking buttons and see what happens.
Yeah, movement 7 is not easy, but on the flip side of that, not trying the one turn.
Ooh.
Meno actually.
Nothing that matters, but that's all of Robo's bench has now been eaten up.
Yep. So whether or not the casualties were worth potentially not getting a score, I mean, you do have a reroll. You have movement 7, dodge with the leap. I don't know. It's the Super Bowl. Whether you think you can win just by out-hurting the Rex at this point, I mean, you might be able to. You definitely have overtime as a playoff game. But I don't know.
Yeah.
One turns
it's
game-changing if you can pull them off.
Let's see how these opening blocks go. Cardinal Rourke did not come back from the KO, so we have one player who's actually good at things who's out. Couple of DPs out. Is that all of the dirty players out? Actually, no.
There's one on the bench. Yeah, just one on the bench right now. Up 2.
I see 2.
Yep.
Robo doesn't have any. But yeah, these opening blocks I think will say a lot. I mean, if I'm Robo, I'm really thinking I kind of need to win at this drive, I think. I mean, it's just if Meno does get the equalizer, it seems likely that he also made it overtime hard on you.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, with both of them only having 11 out there, I mean, it's every blitz could swing it.
Yeah, the biggest thing in Meno's favor is that he does have 2 potential guys to come back, while the Rex don't, like you said earlier. That's all their bench gone after that line of scrimmage wipe at turn 8. So
yeah, and if we do go to overtime, there's a 75% chance of each of those coming back. So you can't count on that, but between the 2 of them, I mean, that's 1.5 extra players in overtime, effectively.
Mm-hmm. He does have a small reroll advantage currently, although, as I said at the start, Robo does have the fame advantage, so that could help him get an extra reroll.
If we do go to overtime, there will be 3 more kickoffs, and over 3 kickoffs, there's a pretty decent chance that we get a reroll kickoff result at some point. That being said, unless you're looking to reroll pushes, I don't see either team needing to reroll a ton, especially not Robo. Because mainly what you're worried about here is having enough players for potential overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And if it starts to look really likely for Meno to score, I mean, you might just stop using rerolls and play for OT. I mean, he's won in overtime before in this run.
This is true. All right, so we get a riot to start the second half, so perhaps a little more pressure on Meno. Not a huge change, but I think Robo would have been happier if you could flip the riot and, well, maybe not. But basically that blitz kickoff before the half didn't help him any. So.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you definitely prefer a blitz to a riot, especially with the ball in a spot that Broadway can reach it. I think riot's still good, though. I mean, this is... If Mino's drive goes the way Mino wants it to, he's going to have a turn left of hits, which could matter.
Oh,
well,
there goes another Minotaur. I think that's like the third or fourth Minotaur that Robo has lost this season.
Yes. Yeah, not a huge. Yeah, now it's just. I mean, it's a pure numbers game. Like this is the interesting thing about Robo's team is. I mean, everyone left is a really good player, except for Joe's number one fan, who, I mean, hey, you got to give credit to the Reds for allowing Joe's number one fan to be on the team for the Super Bowl. That's just that just shows something.
Most franchises, wouldn't dare risk their best fan against a chaos team in the finals. Normally, you can give that guy like VIP tickets or something. That's a big knockout. Yeah, actually, now that you make the point, like, is this something we need to like investigate the Rex for? Like, instead of like VIP tickets to celebrate your number one fan, you're putting him on the field as cannon fodder against Meno's Chaos team. Like, what fan base deserves that kind of treatment?
I mean, Chaos fan base.
I guess if you worship the Dark Gods, yeah, maybe good things shouldn't be headed your way, huh? All right, good pickup for Chris Kilson. Also, don't ask me. Let me go ahead. Don't ask me what I had to do to get out of my contract with Korn. That I can't speak about it. It was a high price to pay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you sacrificed too many fans because I'm just not sure you had enough.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it wasn't the fans I had to sacrifice. Wog making a good point, though. Joe's number one fan would surely have no issue taking a block for Joe. You can imagine him like jumping in front of him as a angry Minotaur or a bullet or assassin's knife or something to that effect coming at his favorite player. But looks like we'll get the obligatory one blitz. Gets another stun on those. Man, those Warriors have been pretty resilient, except when the guy tried to kill himself on the one-die block.
Yeah, I'm not sure about blitzing the stand firm. I mean, if you get a push there, you're giving up an extra claw hit next turn.
Yeah,
you didn't. I mean, the stun is nice. It's an important player that can help advance the cage that now will not move. No guard. He took out 2 turn 1. I believe.
The Minnow got injured, the guy up top got KO'd, and the guy at the bottom got stunned. So
wait,
What?
Oh man, I'm kind of. Well, no, never mind. Don't worry about it.
Okay, but no, your point about the stand firm is valid. That is the best player available to hit. So if you can get him out, that's big. But like you said, with stand firm, if you get pushes, you don't want to burn a reroll. But that does open you up to more injuries, and obviously at this point you're going to lose the game by running out of players.
Well, you don't. I mean, you don't score in before turn 8 unless you have to. Overtime's fine. You having more players is more useful in overtime than it is in regulation. Broadway Joe can score in 3 turns fairly reliably. You're just giving. I mean, this is a problem I do all the time. So I would not be scoring. Yeah, I mean that's chaos, right? When it gets hot, and it's not great timing for Robo. I mean, he was looking pretty good after getting the touchdown, but now it's
He lost 4 players to injury, a KO, like all in those few turns. Now, I'm not in love with that move because if you don't get the initial block, you have to GFI to follow up. But as a huge injury on a pretty decent warrior.
And the fact is, if you snake that GFI, it's 2D for 2D on ball, which with tackle. I mean, potentially game losing, only 3% of the time. Well, and the chance of the double skulls. So I don't know. I'm not doing that math, but a little more than 3% of the time.
Regardless of the math, it works out. That's a big injury, and now Robo's down to a mere 7 players, 8 players. I mean, if you can count Joe's #1 fan as a player, what do you say?
Which I'm not sure.
Seven and a half. Can we just come to that agreement?
Also, big minnow move to put Broadway intense.
Yeah, I mean, he's a decent shot of getting away.
Yeah, but he still has to do it, And if he fails, it's.
I mean, that could be where.
That's the way to make the game completely over, right? I might be blitzing there, actually, if I'm Robo. Just it's so important to get Broadway out of there. And it's there's not a super clear other way to go.
I mean, those warriors right here, like you could get a pretty decent shot on Jerome Bushrod, and if you don't knock him down, you can at least push him into Deadkins, but that's another blodger that you have to try to pow. I think he had a Fireman Ed player actually in the past WOG, but he met his demise, as most Chaos affiliates do. Who the fuck is Fireman Fred? There's a Fireman Ed. I think you're right about the blitz, though. This is where it's coming from.
Another stun. I mean, that's... Good. Especially the last few turns, that's kind of been the story, right? We're getting stuns on one side, cash on the other.
Mayhaps the Chaos Gods have a favorite after all.
Yeah, I mean, you have Joe, right? And I mean, we saw it. Joe made the big rolls at the end of the last drive to get the touchdown. I mean, most of the time I'd say Chaos Mirror, if you're down, players, you're in trouble scoring. But if anyone can.
When do you think Robo's going to have to take the shot?
I don't think he's going to get the chance.
I think he's just going to start running low on players, and he tries to move the guys away.
Low on players. There's absolutely no reason for the ball to ever not be in a really safe cage. I mean, are you really going to take Broadway and try to cage dive against a launcher?
You might have to at this point. If this guy goes out,
if you have Broadway in OT, you have a chance in OT.
True. Yeah, if he could just turn. Oh, this is.
We're gonna get foul coming here.
No, this is the one issue with moving Broadway kind of to the bottom of the field and not leaving him in the middle. I know you wanted to kind of cover both sides equally, but since Meno's going up here and looks like he's going to commit to a pretty large gang foul, if you had Joe in the middle, you might be able to sneak him behind for a shot on the ball because the cage isn't going to quite be complete here, but it'd probably be a long shot.
That shouldn't be possible, or at least it's pretty easy if you put Maxwell one on Meno's side of the field on the midline,
column 12,
and then just tuck the ball. I mean, this is fine too.
But you think it should be one more to the right?
He has tents, so no, this is fine. If he didn't have tentacles,
well, this is a pretty important foul here. Ah, not even a
Ooh.
scratch. Okay.
Well, that's a
And
ball wants it.
you
And
have a chain opportunity here
yeah,
to where you might be able to set up a surf on Mr. Homer and get the numbers +1 your
I
way.
mean, I'm thinking I might take the one die. I might have moved somebody so I can move Bo into contact with the ball and taking the one die on the ball.
Hmm. He doesn't have tackle, but yeah, that may have not been a bad idea.
Now, downside with it is, I mean, maybe not because Bo would get served. I tend to I tend to get kind of obsessed with cool plays like that. That's not always the right decision.
Dude, sexy chains to like do surfs or get one die on the ball or something like that's always the right call. Never doubt yourself again.
No, I'm gonna doubt myself a lot.
Fair enough.
Um, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm taking Wood Elves. I'm not going to have enough players to make sexy chains, so that takes away the temptation.
That's a fair point. Thank you, Wog. There was no way in hell I wasn't going to try that surf attempt at the end of the game. That's a very good injury. That deserves a cheer. I'm trying to be impartial here, but
I mean, look, we're impartial to the result.
That's fair.
And
we should
I
be.
think it is impartial that we want both of them to lose all their players.
Yeah, I mean, we want them to lose all their players equally, so that's a fair point.
But I mean, that's a massive casualty just because. I mean, it just makes things a little bit safer, you know. Now you still, I mean, you need to hold players here. If you don't hold players, you're going to be in pretty serious trouble.
That's a big stand
unless
up
you get
by the
yourself,
Minotaur.
of course.
To Gark's question, what happens if Minnow wins and literally loses like most of his team to like perms? Is he allowed to switch races, or do we like demand that the Super Bowl champion returns to defend their crown?
Well, I can tell you this: the precedent was set in my first season that teams that make the Super Bowl are not allowed comp picks.
Okay.
Because I made it with that 1,400 TV rack team. was not able to get comp pick. So
that was a previous regime though that seemed kind of like they had their head in their ass, but
which I thought was, I definitely thought was fair, especially because like, do not.
The aggressive reroll doesn't work out. Now, to be fair, I literally did the exact same thing last night, except that was my last reroll when I still had a one-term attempt available. Granted, there was a blizzard on, but yeah, I mean, turn 5, you haven't needed them for anything yet. You need them over time. I'm trying to like say it's not as bad as it is, Gark, but yeah, there was, unless you could like guarantee that that guy was gonna get hurt. That was.
I will say it was very on brand. Also, you can now chain. Now you can chain push Bud onto the ball now as well. It would take a commitment.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be a huge commitment of players.
No, you just need one to fill in here. You blitz, push. I mean, it's only 2 players out, and then the guy blitzing.
I really need you to illustrate this. Is it like next to the Minotaur and?
Okay, so you put a guy one towards Robo's end zone next to the Minotaur, blitz the Minotaur, push Bud towards the ball, and then fill in that spot he just did, and then you can push Bud again, and then you have Bud on ball. The problem with it is it's a one guy tackle, so
and that's a huge injury.
Yeah, now things are catching up a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, the Chaos Gods are fickle. All of a sudden, the Rex seem to have their favor. Like, could this be a game where it just sways back and forth all the way to the end? This is actually a much better Chaos Mirror than I thought we'd have for this game, honestly.
Yeah, I would prefer some actual perms on good players here. Like, whoever wins this needs to pay the cost but I mean, well, I wouldn't go that far. I think that what's changed is whoever wins the toss is probably going to win the game.
Yeah. If Meno
if
has
they get
the
to
ball in
overtime,
overtime.
that's the other difference.
True.
Is you only have a one-man advantage now. You have two very dynamic players out. While Robo is missing a ton, but like only one of them has skills.
Yeah, all the chaff has been dealt with. Only one of the serious players. So the stars and scrub model working well for the Rex so far.
Yeah, need to start pushing a little bit too. I mean, this is one of the other things about. I mean, I wonder if he's just going to be able to kind of close the door on him.
Yeah, I mean, Blodge, two heads is not bad at sneaking through. I mean, it's not going to be great, but you do have the opportunity to pin him.
Oh, that's a big dodge.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Throw that dodge, and I think the strip ball. Nah, he would have had to dodge through tens. Mino's doing a good job at putting his tentacles in places that makes it very unlikely for the ball to hit.
Yeah.
He's doing a pretty good job of positioning that. Gotta let that go.
And he doesn't. I mean, what are you scared of that gap? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I want Robo to go through that gap, really, because that's behind the play. But even now, the gap's not filled. Like, if Robo wants to go that way, he just blocks with Bud, gets a knockdown.
I also think you needed to wait to throw that block. You need to move players down here first to really cover. I mean, the block's not risky per se, but it is Blood Bowl, and everything's kind of risky.
Yeah, every action has a failure state, and that one was not great. I mean, you fail that, that's the drive, which, don't know what.
Indeed, quad skulls is a thing.
Poods and NBFL chat. Any good games on?
Classic Poods. I miss that guy.
Yeah, maybe he'll be back at some point. I mean, he apparently.
No.
Yeah, I think you got to reroll that one. I think you're sitting here thinking I might be able to win this in regulation now. Not super risky to completely man mark, but
I was thinking you push Joe back and then have that guy mark the ball, force him to.
No, strip ball was better back. You want the strip ball to be in a reactive position. I mean, obviously, if you lose Broadway, I mean, it won't look good, but the strip ball is the guy who you want to be hitting the ball with. Because he has wrestle and tackle. The strip ball doesn't actually matter, so I don't know why I keep calling him the strip ball guy. The rackle guy.
Rackle.
And I think you're going to get kind of what you want regardless, which is...
Does Meno have to double GFI here and try to score this turn?
I think Meno's going to score. Does he have to?
Technically, no. I mean, you can send Boss and send Bobby down the field up top to have receiving options and try to hold out for another turn, but only gets pushes on old Joe. Then
I mean, you could just kind of move up. Okay.
He's going to try to block Deadkins first, but only gets pushes.
Well, I was going to say you could kind of move up one and then try to just like tuck the ball carrier here on row 8, right behind Barcavius.
Mm-hmm.
You could have got a cage that wouldn't have gotten hit. The problem is, I mean, you're going to have people in front of you.
Instead, we get the double GFI touchdown. It is now tied 1-1 late in the Super Bowl second half.
Yeah, this has been a really exciting game.
Yeah, comparatively.
And I got to say, thank you both of you for not taking 5 minutes to turn.
Oh, thank God, yeah.
and making me have to think of things to talk about until my brain doesn't work anymore.
Let's see. We've got 8 chaos. Well, okay. 8 Rex, 9 cattle chaos. That's more specific. 2 turns. You got the rerolls. If you fail something on turn 7 as the Rex, do you just eat it and try to go into overtime?
Depends on. I mean, yes, basically. But I mean, I'm probably gonna try to get both of your 7MA in range somewhere, and I'm gonna try to pick up with the Edge 4 raffle.
Okay. So you blitz up top.
Yeah, the other Edge 4 is still KO'd.
Blitz up top, send Joe's fan as the bottom part of your screen, send Colin as the front part of your screen, and put Joe up on column 8 or so, and then pick up with Nunez. Yeah, something like that.
Give yourself 2 credible scoring options. You want to keep Joe somewhat covered. I mean, I don't even really. Well, I guess you probably take the line of scrimmage blocks because removals help in OT. I wouldn't, but that's not because that's the right decision, but because I seem to not realize that removals are part of the game.
It looks like Joe's going to go by himself, try to blitz his way through.
Ooh, that's big.
That is a very nice
range now.
Kickoff result. Oh, he's changing it. Joe's no longer going on a solo mission. He comes back for the ball because he's a glory hog, catches it on a 6. He's going to take the drive himself down the field and try to win the Super Bowl.
Man, I didn't know you could switch it. I thought that once you clicked
the player, I thought, did he click the player?
No, he did. I just something. That's cool.
Interessante. And he's not going down the sideline. He does use the reroll like we talked about. You mark either the frenzy or the tag. Now, I'm a little wary of rerolling it when you haven't yet put the ball in scoring position, but because you do get the reroll successfully, Joe's going to make his way downfield. Everybody's going to be covered. I mean, they got a shot here. It's going to be hard to get through Deadkins. Boss can get through Colin, and then you send German.
You dodged your one fan.
4, 5.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's fine. I would have dodged him around and tried to, let me see, 1.
Oh, you bring him closer to Joe.
Dodge and GFI twice, and you can put them on the same row as Broadway on the other side of the wide zone.
Okay, so the big question is, do you come in with German? Do you come in with Maxwell? Do you just block with Maxwell and make a path for German? I mean, this... Who's blitzing then?
Oh. Yeah, okay, I'm actually okay with this. Don't re-roll it. Then you block with Mingo. And then you're going to blitz with Maxwell.
But... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, double GFI.
It's not great, but...
Well, he gets the dodge. Gets the first GFI. Gets the second. And he has tackle. We're waiting. Oh, shut up, man. Just get on with it.
Bro. Okay, that's kind of funny.
Going for the pure drama of it. And rolls 2-2.
I don't think he does he? Oh, foul.
And he gets caught! Oh, no. I mean, because the guy was a dirty player, I suppose that wasn't a terrible move with the 3 assists, but you don't break armor, you get caught, so you take out your man advantage for overtime.
Yeah, I think you had to do it, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even a KO is just... if you're playing 8-on-8 in overtime, but Broadway Joe's not there, I mean, that's an absolutely massive change.
Yeah. Wow, Meno pulling off a, not
Okay.
super unlikely, but a difficult turn 8
Difficult
defense
stuff.
there. Pulls it off.
And now, yes, man advantage, ball in hand.
Oh god. That KO'd player comes back. Probably not anybody of consequence.
It's
Trevor.
at 4 block. It's a pretty big
Oh,
player to
that's
come
not a bad
back.
player. Yeah, I thought it was just some scrub. Okay, so
He was one of his line of scrimmage players on defense, so I can understand why you feel that way.
yeah, relative scrub compared to who he had to protect. So, wow, what a game! Overtime in the NBFL Super Bowl number 24. We've got 9 Rex, 8 Cattle Chaos. Wog is not happy about something, but nobody cares. So, man, what a finish we almost saw there. Broadway Joe going
This whole game,
for the touchdown.
first half it looked like Robo was in really good control. Then Minnow took a shot at the right time twice and gave himself a chance, but Broadway pulled it out. And then it looked like Minnow was just going to roll through second half and, have a pretty decent advantage in OT. And then Robo did a good job limiting hits on his good players after he lost his spotter and got a couple removals and forced an early score with some dice. And then we almost get the two turn on one side,
And
and
now
now
we
we're
get a
going
blitz.
oh,
Technically,
this is
technically not the first blitz in the game, but the last one was at the end of the half when the Rex didn't want to move anybody from the end zone. This is actually a blessing in disguise for the Rex because it's totally gonna commit Meno in theory to sending guys downfield when he's not really that fast. Let's say he goes to
I
the bottom, Broadway picks up the ball and just goes north over the course of 3 turns, and they never sniff him.
I don't I don't think I would. I think I just use my blitz to try to even up the man advantage. I mean, if you get a remover here, it's 8-8 again.
Oh,
Uh,
no such luck.
okay, well, I mean, not the end of the world. And then I don't think you push forward much. I don't think you're fast enough. I don't hate that position just because you're making him have to like deal with stuff, and that is a stand firm player.
Right.
Um, Same thing with marking up here. I mean, there's not a ton of like this is fine, right? Like your team's still pretty central.
Mhm.
I would not send
Yeah,
Joseph. I
that's
definitely wouldn't GFI. I mean, he is in range now. If we get a failed pickup, he can score.
true.
Um, if we don't get a snaked pickup, then I'm not really sure what he's doing there. I mean, is he going to one die Broadway?
At this point, is that the worst plan?
Man, I might just pick up with Broadway before doing any of this.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Except for maybe that blitz. Oh,
Woo! Okay, he's not going to get anywhere near the ball now. He's dead.
and there goes Kilson. Minnow, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be hard to find a good carrier where you're going to be picking.
Yeah. Well, last year we saw that one skink King Jong from Duke, if I recall, last till pick like 50 when like Denver or Atlanta or somebody took him. He was like a plus MA block sidestep skill player that nobody seemed to want. Like all the Elvin teams were like, we already got one turners, so
Yeah, I
they
mean
passed on him.
that's kind of a classic. The teams that kind of want that skill set can get it easily, and then like, do you really want? I mean, it's fine, and like, well, Minnow's going to pick her be good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not really what I'm thinking.
A huge one die pow on that guy.
Yeah, I think that's the right decision. I mean, there's very little risk if it fails.
I'm not sure I
Ever losing a
move
player,
that
but who
guy.
cares about that at this point? So are we going to see the first AFC champion in 6 seasons?
Mayhaps.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
5 straight seasons of the NFC winning.
well, that's completely due to MRT's incompetence, but still.
It's not just MRT's incompetence that
No,
has
let's
led to
just
domination.
let's just blame it on MRT.
Robo also lost, so he's getting redemption here potentially.
Mayhaps. All right, a bold move from Mr. Boss, marking Joe.
Yeah, I mean you're in desperation now. It's just throw everything you got out there and see what you can do.
I was gonna say first move should be to use Bud and 2-die Boss.
Yeah, just like, I mean, don't let an early double skull kill you. Yeah, I think, man, remember when it looked like the chaos that cattle was just gonna
Pitch
bash
clear and win the game. Yeah.
off the field? Where'd that go?
I don't know, man. These are strange times. Strange times indeed.
I understand. I think both have played quite well, so this has been a good game. I mean, it is the Super Bowl. You expect a pretty high play, but I always think it's really hard to play in high stress games. I don't like that spot for Broadway.
Not in love with it because Mr. Maxwell
Yeah,
can swing around there with tackle. If he
yeah, it's a pretty
just
+2+ for tackle on the ball. I mean, you take that and then maybe okay, you don't take that because you're not getting a better chance. You
no,
don't care about this. You really don't. Like you do not care who scores next turn. But you got to get the ball on the ground. The ball's going to be caged.
yeah, I mean that was probably your last shot at the ball, like you're saying. So, I mean the odds of it weren't great, but at this point, the odds of anything is not going to be great.
Yeah, I mean this is a fairly common thing you
Now,
see. It's the whole. You see this a lot in like actual football, right?
mhm.
Where one team starts playing not to lose, and it's hard not to. Especially like I mean you see it now. You saying Gratz. I guess he's. I mean he's probably. Um, I don't know why you don't take that shot. I mean, if you get the knock, I mean it's effectively what 3+2+5+. Um, you got
What do you have to lose?
yeah. I mean you got claw as well. So like if you do get it, the chance of you stunning Broadway or something is non-zero, and then at that point, who knows?
Maybe. Seen stranger things happen.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a contrast to the first half where I thought that on the turn where he had to take a shot, he did. Here, I think he had to do it, and he didn't.
You know what would be really nice if you had a wizard for some of these situations.
Yeah, so we haven't really come back to that. Okay, I don't like that.
Yeah, you didn't need to GFI there. You still had the gap covered.
Yeah, so that's one of the things about Wizards. I'm not fully on board with this, but I do know that there's a lot of coaches out there who better than I am, who hold it and hold it and hold it and hold it, and the pure threat of having it just impacts the entire game.
That it does. I took a
Um,
quick count and I thought Mr. Trevor was too far away to hand off to, but he was just in the right spot. But Mr. Bushrod says, "No, sir, you won't be the hero."
yeah, this is just Minnows effectively throwing the white flag.
I mean, the numbers game actually.
I mean, it's even. They have even
Oh,
numbers.
Jesus Christ. Mr. Scalper decided to take an early exit from the game, and okay, right when I was trying to think of hope, I mean, they had numbers nearby. Joe wasn't quite in scoring range yet. The other guy who was within range was taken out. I mean, you could see a situation where he somehow mucked it up, but now it's probably too tough.
You can pause. I mean, you can see him getting someone on ball and making it so like a snake or a quad skull gives him a chance.
Right.
Like he can maybe give himself like up to a 3% chance here.
It's better than zero, right?
It's better than zero, but
I think you
I
can
don't.
not GFI that guy.
I don't know that using the reroll last turn. I mean, I think that just hurts you. Like, yeah, you got the removal, which is cool and all, but he was never handing the ball. Like, you just sometimes got to know, hey, yeah, there's a guy out there. No, he's not going to be getting the ball.
Yeah, I think trying to get that tentacles guy on Joe would have been the play, but
Yeah.
I mean, you still had to dodge and everything, but I think that was the only way you could try to muck it up enough. Here you just Three
I don't think
die with the Deadkins if you can.
in a way, but it was still the right play, right?
I was going to 3 die with Joe. Well, it's 2 die,
Yeah.
but still. It's just enough to push him away. Joe will waltz into the end zone. And Robo and the New York Rex are the Super Bowl champions of the NBFL.
Yeah.
For a game that wouldn't... Go ahead.
I mean, this has been a long time coming, really. Like the Rex came in 7 seasons ago when Robo came back. They've made the playoffs all 7 of those seasons.
Mm-hmm.
All but once or twice they won the division.
Right.
And they've always been in the mix. And if you put yourself in the mix enough times, you're going to have it's probably going to happen eventually. And he did a good job this season in the games I saw. There was some good fortune. I mean, winning the coin toss against Duvert was obviously massive.
Yeah.
But big win against MRT, big win here.
Yeah, I mean, going through all 4 games of the playoffs, you had LA, and Dufer's team is very strong. You had to go through the number 2 seed Denver team, which is a very strong Lizard team. You had to go through what's left of MRT's team, which is still formidable enough. And then you had to go through the big bad Cattle Chaos, who hadn't really suffered a lot of perms throughout the whole season, their playoff run. So that was quite the gauntlet. And Broadway Joe and Robo got it done finally.
Yeah, it was a really good run. I mean, you got to wonder, I mean, they've been here before. They took Los Angeles to the wire in their other Super Bowl attempt. That game went on forever. But, as I said, congrats, Robo. Fun to see.
For sure. All right, New York gets the job done. The NBFL season is finally and unfortunately over. We still have about a month until we need to finalize our racial decisions, and then another several weeks before the draft even starts. So it's going to be a while. This chat's going to be a little lonely.
31 of the 32 seem to know what team they're going to play. But somebody can't figure it out.
Well, that's nothing new. All right. I appreciate you joining me, Baz. I know Gark, Wog, Doofer, a couple others were in the chat with us. So I appreciate anybody who's watching the video now and does so in the future. It's been a great season. We're going to have another one coming up in, 2 months or so. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.